r/AskReddit. What was the worst thing somebody did at your school? Stabbed someone through the hand with a pencil. Gross, but not a huge deal. Then did it with a knife a few days later. To the same kid? Yep, the stabbed kid was kind of an a-hole, but of course that doesn't warrant such extreme measures. Still, you'd think he'd be less of an a-hole after the first stabbing. Shit like this is why I think climate change is going to be inevitable. I mean, maybe they were still mad about the way he acted before he was stabbed the first time. Maybe the other kid didn't think a pencil conveyed the message. A teacher was driving through campus, had a heart attack, and ran some kid over. The kid became a paraplegic and the teacher died. That sounds like something that would happen on South Park, but is actually really sad. Poor kid and RIP the teacher. Called in a bomb threat. Edit. Was done to get out of a maths test. What are the odds? This happened at my school too. One of the kids called in and they had to evacuate the entire place. Bomb squad was called in. Happened many years ago in a conservative country too. I would guess it's happened in every country. Someone started a rumor saying they were going to shoot up the school, posted it on different social medias, scrawled it in one of the bathrooms, told people not to come on a certain day, the whole 9 yards. Day came and not only did a ton of people not show up, we had police on site for obvious reasons. Luckily nothing came of it, but that was still a serious problem. Edit. Bit of clarification. Similar experience in my school. Some idiots posted rumors of a drive-by being done at our school during dismissal on a certain day. For context, the school's pickup zone is basically a semicircle where cars drive by and pick up the students, and the students are essentially all lined up around the semicircle in groups and such. A lot of people did not show up that day, and officers were asked to be there during dismissal to avoid anything happening. A similar thing happened where people were also spreading rumors of gangs going to fight it out and such. Wait, did you start the rumor? God no. Some idiot thought they was cool by doing it. I don't even know the person's name, but our school rarely had anything major occur, so news of it spread like wildfire. It was definitely this guy. I can confirm. I'm his mouth. Accidentally set our girls' bathroom on fire. What on earth happened that caused the bathroom to get set on fire? Toilet paper was strewn across the bathroom stalls to see if you lit one end would the flame continuously stay lit or drop off. It did in fact stay lit. Wouldn't the paper just burn out though? There's not much in a bathroom to set on fire. Tiled floors, ceramics, mirrors. The toilet paper did burn out, but they kept lighting it apparently. The janitor walked in while they were doing it. Every bit of clarification makes it look less and less accidental. Had a kid put weed in the vents and then try to sell a fake bomb for $5. He's in jail now. Aren't you supposed to do it the other way around? Sell fake weed for $5 and put a bomb in the vents? You put the kid in the vent, sell a fake bomb and then weed. Somebody brought some sort of contraption to school that was thought to be a pipe bomb. If I recall correctly, it wasn't. So the school made us evacuate. Then the school searched the student's car and found hunting guns. We were forced further away from school and they had to call in SWAT. The guy that did it got expelled and was in so much trouble with the law. I don't think he meant to do anything. It just looked really bad. I'm glad I graduated in '98. If they arrested all the kids at my school that went hunting on the weekends and brought the guns to school on their truck racks, there wouldn't be many students left. I did grow up in Southern Gar though. In elementary school, we had this school president election thing in the auditorium. Each candidate had their cabinet of people, and they went on stage to perform a little skit, talent show, whatever. Well, this one kid, I think his name was Cody or Corey, had planned a disturbing display. The stage was a bathroom sink and a cup of water. A kid would come out in his pajamas, endorse the candidate, gargle the water, then spit it back into the cup. The next would come out and repeat the process with that same cup, causing audible groans from students and teachers. This happened 4 or 5 times with different students, until the water was bubbly and discolored with saliva. Then the candidate finally came out, but instead of spitting it back out, he downed the whole thing. The auditorium went nuts. To this day I don't know if it was some sort of gag or trick, but I'll never forget how it made me suffer. So weird. Glad I kept scrolling. At my high school there was a shortcut from one side of the building to the other side that went over the roof. 4 stories up and just below the shortcut was the entrance. A guy that had been extremely bullied decided to jump from up the roof in a suicide attempt. School got cancelled for a week. He did survive but he didn't come back. He changed schools. If someone survived a suicide attempt, I wonder if at the moment they would feel relieved or disappointed. Apparently people who have survived jumping off the Golden State Bridge have regretted it 3/4s of the way down. 3 kids murdered another kid over a pair of shoes. All the other kids and their pumped up kicks. I have to ask what? What shoes exactly? LA. Lights. Oh my duck. What? Seriously? How did the parents of all 4 kids feel after this? How did the 3 kids feel about it? The 3 boys got life in prison. So I am sure the parents are not all that happy at the moment. There was a kid who would write bomb threats on the bathroom wall. He did it about 5-6 times before they caught him. Every time, they had to evac the school and send in police to search. Costed my city a ton of money. Never would have expected the kid that did it either. How did they catch him? They put cameras in the bathrooms, of course. For those curious about this, kids really need to stop taking their phones everywhere with them. About once or twice a year we have kids scrawling racism on the walls at our school. We work in an old brick and mortar building that transmits signals for SHIP, which means we have to have Wi-Fi access points out the wazoo. Generally, we can pinpoint who wrote it down to a relatively narrow time period. You might think you're smart putting your hoodie on so cameras don't catch your face entering exiting. But you don't realize your phone is hopping between access points during your entire trip to the bathroom. And that's how we nail you. Tracking your route through the building. Big Brother is watching. We told you to put your phone away. But no, you wouldn't believe us. Honestly, Ro. Jeremy and Angie had sex in the baptismal font. Also the math teacher raped the youth pastor's daughter like 400 times on the school bus. How did people notice so late? Well, I'd guess the font is tucked away and well hidden, plus it's probably dark there. Acted like they had a secret to tell and then burp in the person's ear. They're probably in juvie by now. That's some messed up shit. Worst one so far. A student was caught masturbating in the library. He had to change schools. Edit. I forgot that someone turned on all the natural gas valves in the chemistry lab and left. That could have ended badly. Dude, literally same thing happened for the first one but was back in 6th grade. A guy's brought a whole tray of pot brownies to class. The teacher took one look and said, "Well, are you going to share with the class?" Fearing that he would get caught for acting strange, he ended up giving brownies to everyone. All of them got to go home early, and the guy got a few days suspension. I do not condone drugging unsuspecting people, but my personal favorite part is when he was asked to share, he denied at first, implying that he was going to eat a whole tray of pot brownies by himself while trying to solve math problems. Someone falsely reported a shooting at my school was going to happen on the coming Monday. Over the weekend 2 kids' homes were searched. Small town, so everyone knew. Posts were made on Facebook and about 80% of the school did not attend on the following Monday. Students slowly began to trickle back into coming to school by the time the next Friday rolled around. One of the boys switched to homeschooling afterwards, actually a fairly nice guy, sad to see it happened. This guy was jerking off in the middle of class, and after he was done, he wiped his jizz all over some girl's arm. He was expelled shortly after. What was he supposed to do? Bring his own napkins or something? If you lie on your back, you can aim it into your mouth. That way the cleanup is easy. Some kid drank water mixed with cough syrup. Got sent to ISS. Did it again while in ISS. Sent to the International Space Station? That's quite a punishment. A fight spilled into my classroom. The 2 students began fighting each other somewhere in the hall before somehow opening the door to my class mid-fight. The room was not a normal classroom. It was meant for tech design classes and had lots of computers in it around the walls. The 2 students continued to hit each other, admittedly not very well. Both parties were inexperienced and missed most of the time, and ended up backing onto the desktop computer in front of me. I quickly got out of there to avoid being caught in the crossfire. They rolled along the desk, knocking every computer on its side or off the desk. My poor 4'0" teacher, a very soft-spoken woman, was desperately trying to contain the situation. Then, the students began moving back towards the door, arms and legs still flailing. Out the door they went, followed by my teacher quickly closing the door behind them. Both students were suspended. The computers were damaged and some had to be replaced. I knew both of the students involved, and they were both really shitty people. Had no sympathy for either of them, and when I wasn't staring in disbelief I was laughing my ass off. I'm hesitating between when two students took a bunch of sleeping pills, passed out in class and almost died, or a kid fighting a middle school history teacher because she tried to expel him from class. LOL WTF kinda school you in LMAO. Private Catholic boarding school in France. Some of the kids were spoiled, ill-mannered brats. They all were coming from rich families and did shit like that all the time. I remember one time, a kid playing chess was being bullied up to the point he pissed his pants. He had to change school because everybody was making fun of him. Why do people find pleasure in stuff like that? I was one of 3 girls in the welding class. Whatever. I was grinding a piece of metal to practice a weld. When the metal was bright red, some guy came up behind me and pulled my shirt down. Instinct said cover your tits, and I did. With the red hot steel in my gloved hands, I gave myself a 2nd-degree burn on my tit because of that kid. My friend said it was my fault. It blistered immediately and I was so pissed I peeled the blistered skin off and flicked it at him. He cried like a baby. Your friends are a-holes. They aren't my friends anymore. Burned down the town library. Flushed his life down the toilet. I knew his face and we had friends in common. latimes.com link. Edit. Sorry, I read it as what's the worst thing someone at your school did, but people may still find it interesting. The day I was sick and didn't go to school. Apparently my weight class decided they were gonna get the class bully back. Waited till he went to bench press. Trapped him by pushing the bar down. And every guy there put their bic on his face. He never came back to school after that. Yeah, I've seen that porn. I remember that in elementary middle school there was one class of 20 or so students, all of them bullying a classmate. Thing ended up on the internet and a lot of people were suspended. But I am also going to say that the kid that got bullied also deserved some sort of punishment. The reason why the whole class turned on him was because he was a walking a-hole. He was manipulative and turned people against each other multiple times. Things really escalated when he told the parents of a kid that was in the closet that their daughter was gay. After that everyone kinda realized what he had been doing. He also tried bullying me a few times because of some health problems I have, but I just acted like I didn't care and he got bored and stopped. Didn't wear his seatbelt and hit black ice. He survived but suffered a turmeric brain injury. He went from one of the smartest, funniest, and kind people I've ever known to an angry at life and himself person who had trouble communicating with everyone. Even after years of recovery, he would still have bursts of anger at himself over it. He tried so hard to get back to what he was before. With help and a tremendous effort from friends and family, he kept going. He even got back to smiling and being friendly with everyone again. But the strain of everyday life took its toll on him. He passed away about 5 years after graduation. I still think about him though it's been 20 years since I saw him. He wasn't drunk driving. He was a great kid. I swore he'd been on television with his timing and physical comedy. I don't say it out loud, but he's why I am so admit that everyone buckles up before my com moves. I've read turmeric is good for your brain. Hooray for autocorrect and insomnia. Looks like I should have some traumatic. Smartest. Didn't wear a seatbelt. Something isn't adding up. Smart equals common sense. My dad is the smartest person I know, but he does stupid shit like this all the time. I guess I should have said intelligent. He could preform difficult math equations mentally and was a constant lead actor in school plays. He also had a band that was popular around the school at the time. I envied him but liked hanging out with him. After the wreck he pushed away a lot of people. I was a dumb teen and socially awkward. I'm not proud of it, but I couldn't bring myself to get close to him again. Athletics director put cameras in the girls' locker room and allegedly made some moves on some of them. It was middle school. Jesus ducking Christ. When I was a freshman in high school, I found out I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, for which I had to undergo a very intense almost 2-year chemotherapy treatment, and no one at the school cared at all. I didn't even get a damn get well card from anyone. In fact, they tried to tell me I wouldn't be able to graduate since I only had 1 year of pay. We had to do 2 years. I was under the impression rehabilitating myself from being wheelchair bound counted as a year of pay, but they wanted to argue. I was also regularly bullied by people who wanted to make fun of me for not being able to run a mile. I have a problem with my legs still, but it was worse then, and having short hair from the chemotherapy. In contrast, senior year, a popular boy found out he had a brain tumor, and all they did was just operate and take out the tumor. The school held a ducking mandatory assembly and told everyone to wear purple because that was his favorite color, and that's the evilest thing I ever encountered at school. The student leader of a diversity club wrote racist death threats towards every black student at the school, including himself, on a bathroom stall in an attempt to draw attention to the issue of racism at the school. School was closed. Police were involved. It was in the news. The drama went on 4 weeks before a family member of the student turned them into the police for it. He was the one leading rallies and really being the frontman for the anti-racism movement in front of the whole school throughout the entire proceedings. It was surreal looking back. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.